is that when we look at each of those areas, we're going to look at the integrity that the learning areas have for those things. So when we look at inquiry learning, we're going to say, okay, so how are we going with science and social studies in those areas? Are we really paying effect to it and stuff like that? And I've actually developed a self-review tool that we haven't used yet, but we will, based on the based on the the review thing. So, but we're going to look at the planned curriculum, the taught curriculum, and the learned curriculum. So when we will answer these questions, and so we put it under a learning area, and we'll say, I'm going to in our self-review, how is this learning area planned for? So if it's science, generally it'll be planned through our inquiry approach. So we'll look at the planning that goes into that and just see how often we are actually planning for science and what AOs we're doing and that sort of thing. What does documentation suggest should be planned? So what is our school-based curriculum? What is New Zealand curriculum? So make those comparisons. What does planning suggest should be covered? What are the expectations of curriculum delivery with regard to this learning area? And that would be our current position, and then those are the sorts of goals we could come up with, that would ask questions for to determine. Are the New Zealand curriculum principles evident in our interpretation of learning areas, and how will we include these in teaching and learning practices? The meaning and intent of our planning well aligned to the intent of the New Zealand curriculum learning areas. Does this documentation and planning give integrity to the learning area? So as I said, that's all about the planned curriculum, and then we'll look at how often and how much time has been spent teaching within this learning area, what teaching strategies and approaches are evident. Does the data suggest school-wide expectations and curriculum delivery are being met? Does the data we're talking about is classroom observations, basically. That the intent and expectations of the NZ curriculum learning area statements are being met. Does the data suggest effective strategies?
There's some great questions.
Yeah.
There, isn't it? You just need to. It's not all about national standards. There's some great review questions. Yeah.
Well, like all I've done is taken that tool, the template basically, and turned it into
turned it into yours. And
but as I say, we haven't used it yet.
Any chance to
walkthroughs? We spent a lot of time talking about because I wanted to determine whether we were actually ready for them to have me come into the classroom on a regular basis rather than a regular basis, you know what I mean, and just see them doing stuff when they're not expecting me and stuff like that. And we talked a lot about the fact that we were in a position where we trusted one another, and that the information we had would only be used to help benefit their teaching practice, and I wouldn't use it to make assessments about their appraisals or competencies or anything like that, you know what I mean.
Are you the only one who does the walkthroughs, or are you?
Wendy and Gemma do them occasionally, but it's just the logistics of the time. They're really full-time classroom teachers with a little bit of management time, and generally they plan to, but they do but they tend to do longer observation type walkthroughs, because I can do it at the drop of a hat any time, you know what I mean, whereas they'll go and look and I'll be in the classroom for 5 or 10 minutes, whereas they'll walk through and maybe spend 20 minutes or half an hour in the classroom, because that's the time that they've got, you know what I mean, on a management day or whatever.
Just occasionally, I think sort of peer walkthrough type of thing.
Well,
or even
the walkthrough stuff all started like that.
Yeah.
Like last year when I did it as my action research project, basically, because I was with that Experienced Principals project stuff, and what we did was that teachers walked through with me. And we gathered the data. I coached them all on that, and they gathered the data. Or one part of the data with me was around instructional strengths, I think, that they looked at, and I gathered the other bits and pieces to put it in the context of the curriculum area and what sort of thinking skills were going on and that sort of thing. And then we would sit down for 15 or 20 minutes and talk about what we saw, and then at the end of it I would say to them, okay, so what is it from that walkthrough that you can take away with you to reflect on as far as your own practice is concerned, you know, and they'd make comments about how the tone of the teacher's voice, you know, kept the kids under control and stuff like that, and that they'd, you know, that they'd like to be able to, you know, these are younger teachers, you know, they'd like to be able to do the same as that teacher, you know what I mean, or that, you know, that teacher, the way that she just naturally used te reo in the classroom, you know what I mean, that's that sort of stuff, you know, and it worked really well, but like, and they all talked positively about it, you know, they thought it was beneficial, but they grizzled me and said, well, you told us that it would only take 10 or 15 minutes out of it, because I grabbed them on a CRT day.
Okay, the old official CRT.
And you said that it would only take 10 or 15 minutes, but by the time we got talking, by the time we got finished, it was usually 3/4 of an hour out of their day, you know. So they were so I said to them this year, and I said, whoever wants to come on a walk through with me, just give us a yell and we'll, you know what I mean? But no one's taken up that offer.